Once the budget allocated to departments, ministers are then going to have to announce where they're going to make the savings. And you know, from early on in the next financial year, the impact of these reductions is going to be felt. In some cases, it might not be immediately apparent to the public. I mean, one of the things I've said to ministers is, before you start looking at any of the services to the public, look at the bureaucracy within your own department, look at the efficiencies you could achieve there, look at some of the things that you do could be done in a better or more cost-effective way. For example, could the social sector do them? The voluntary sector do them? Could the private sector do some of these things so you get more services for every pound that you spend? Now, that's going to be the big challenge for ministers. And of course, this is the first time we've ever really had to do this, and I think it's going to be a new experience for the Assembly.
Are you satisfied that the promises of £18 billion made at St Andrews will remain untouched?
Well, I've been trying to get some information from the Secretary of State about this, and as is the First Minister. I think that all he's been told is that the £18 billion over the 10 years will be safe, but how it is paid and when it is paid is the most important thing. I mean, for example, there's still another 6 years to run. If it was all loaded towards the last 2 years, then of course it's not going to help our situation next year or the year after that, or indeed any time during this 4-year period. If it's predicated on us, because it could be well be that the Treasurer will say, well, if you sell assets, you can keep the receipts. But you know, that's not much comfort to you either at a time when assets can't be sold, or if it's based on, well, you can have access to money that you don't spend. I don't get into technical terms here, but you can have access. But if we're spending all of our budget, then that money's not available. So it depends really how that's dressed up, and so far we don't know the answer to that.
The timing here could be crucial. Do you think, bearing in mind we have Assembly elections next May, these cuts are planned to start biting in March and April, therefore it's tempting for some politicians to delay the cuts?
Well, I mean, first of all, we can't delay them. We've got to have a budget in place for April of next year. So the decisions have to be made now. It would be criminal if we put off making those decisions until the middle of a financial year. In fact, it couldn't be done. And I think that secondly, I hope that ministers will take the long-term view. When we've got less money to spend, then we've really got to look at how that money is best spent. And that means not making short-term decisions which get you over an election, but planning for the 4-year period that we have to face, because only in that way can we ensure that the scarce resources that are going to be available to us are best spent, and spent in a way which grows the skills in our economy, grows the infrastructure in our economy, best places us to capitalise on the upturn when it eventually comes, as it will.